Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Today we're gonna start off with a new chapter on Python. We're gonna learn a little more on Python Pandas as a data science toolkit. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to a heading. Okay, now let's enter a new line. So Python Pandas is a very commonly used toolkit when we are engaging with the data science project. We're gonna use Pandas to transform our dataset, gonna analyze our data, so on and so forth, right? So to import our Pandas into Python, we need to import Pandas, and that's it, right? So let's run this code here, and right now we can see the code has been executed successfully, right? Now all library in Python is case sensitive, right? So if we say we want to import Pandas with capital S here, and let's try to run this code here, it's gonna throw error, right? The library name is case sensitive, right? So let's change it back to the proper casing here. Alright. Now we're gonna try to import a very simple CSV file using our Pandas to import as a data frame, right? So I'm gonna say df, which will be my new data frame here, and I'm gonna call pandas dot, and to look at all the functions or package that Pandas offer, you can hit on the tab keyboard button, and you can see there are a full list of functions that is available to be selected. Alright, so I'm gonna search for read CSV. Alright, so I'm gonna enter, and let's open a bracket, and I'm gonna place the CSV file name into the parentheses. Alright, so I'm gonna copy this file name here, copy, go back to Jupyter Notebook, and I paste it here, and I'm gonna put in .csv. Alright, and the next line we're gonna display our data frame. Alright, now let's run this code here, and right now we can see our CSV file has been stored into the data frame that we have created, right? So if we want to look at only the first 5 records inside our data frame, we're gonna add in a square bracket here, and we're gonna add in 0 to 5. Alright, now let's run this code here, and right now we can see the data frame is returning the records from index 0 right until number 4 here. Alright, and the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna rename this Pandas here to a shorter instance. For example, we're gonna call it PD, so that we would not to retyping the word pandas throughout our codes. So right now, if we import pandas as PD, let's run this code here, and we can use this PD here to replace pandas at the second line here. Alright, so let's run this code here, and we're gonna get the exact same result like before, right? So yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next module. Thanks, and bye bye. Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Now that we have learned how do we import pandas into Python, let's take a look how do we transform our data frame by using some of the functions that we have in Pandas. Alright, so in the previous lessons we have talked about how do we read a CSV file into Python. Today we're gonna learn how to remove a specific columns within a Python data frame. Alright, so to remove a column is very straightforward. what we need to do is we need to add in the del function bracket, and we add in the data frame, and let's open a square bracket, and we add in a single quote, and here we're gonna add in the column name that we want to remove from this data frame here, right? So let's try to remove the column total revenue. Okay, and we're gonna display our data frame, right? Now let's run this code here. Now that we can see our total revenue column has been removed from the data frame. Alright, so once the column has been removed from this data frame, and if we try to run this code again, we are going to hit on error because the column has been removed from the data frame itself, right? So if we want to revert back to our original column that we have within the data frame itself, we need to rerun the code again. Alright, so what if you want to remove multiple columns from the same data frame itself? So what we need to do is we just add in a comma here. Let's add in the data frame, put in a square bracket, add in a single quote, and put in the column name that we want to remove. Alright, so for example here, I'm going to remove the total revenue and total cost from the data frame that we have created earlier. Alright, so when I run this code here, right now we can see our total cost and total revenue has been removed from this data frame here. Alright, and here if you want to look at the first 5 records, we can always add in df, and let's put in 0, colon, and 5 here. Alright, so this is the first 5 columns. Alright, let's run this code here. Or we can also use the df.head, add in the bracket, and we can put in 5. Alright, so if we run this code here, it's gonna return the same result as how we did earlier, right? So this will give us the first 5 records in our data frame. If we want to look at the bottom 5 of the records, we just change this to tail. Alright, let's run this record here, and right now we can see the bottom 5 of the records in our data frame, right? So yep, that's all for the lesson today. Thanks for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next module. Thanks and bye bye. Now if you are interested to know more about analytics, you can subscribe my YouTube channel where I will be sharing more info about analytics. Alright, so subscribe my channel here so that you can get more info about analytics. Alright, so yep, once again, thanks for enrolling into this course, and I hope to see you in my YouTube channel. Alright, so yep, that's all for today. Thanks and bye bye. Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Now that we have removed the total revenue from our data frame, let's retrieve our total revenue column by using the existing unit sold column multiplied with the unit price column. Alright, so we're gonna say df total revenue. So since we have removed the total revenue from our data frame, now we are creating a new column called as the total revenue inside our data frame df. Alright, so we're gonna say df total revenue equal to df and single quote units sold, and let's add in the multiplier, and we multiply with our df square bracket single quote unit price. Alright, and let's display our updated data frame. Alright, now let's run this code here. And right now we can see the total revenue column has been created, right? Now let's try to call the unit price column with a different text case here, alright? Let's try to call our unit price using a small letter P here, alright? Let's run this code here, and we can see Python will throw out error. So the column name here are case sensitive, alright? So we need to use the proper column naming convention, alright? Now let's run this code here. So this is how we create a new column within Python, alright? So what will happen if we have a numeric column multiplied with a string column, alright? So let's try to multiply units sold together with our order priority, alright? So I'm gonna copy this code here, paste it down to a new line, and I'm gonna change this to order priority. Alright, now let's run this code here. So the result here is actually reading the number of order priority that has been appended as a new column here. Alright, so let's take an example here. If we have this row here, so the records that is multiplied is 888. So this is actually returning 888 M within this record here, right? So to check if our assumption is correct, let's add in df length equal to length of our df total revenue. We're gonna check the length of this records here. If the length of this column here, if it is reading 888, right? And we're gonna display our updated data frame here. Alright, now let's run our code here. Let's go to the very right of our table, but the result here is showing us the length of 100. This is because our number of records is actually reading 100. So to check if our length within the column itself, we need to have a sub function to read the length of the string here within each of the column. Alright, so right now, because we are just computing the length throughout the column for total revenue, is giving us the total number of records within the total revenue itself. Alright, so in the next module, we're going to talk about how do we iterate a function within the column itself. Alright, we're gonna check what is the length that we have in each of the records here, right? So this is supposed to return us 9925 as the length of the row here, and this will give us 2804 in the length column here. Alright, so yep, that's all about the lesson for today. Thanks for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next module. Thanks and bye bye. Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Now that we have learned how to perform column transformation, we have learned how to create a total revenue column by multiplying the unit sold and the unit price column. Alright, today we're going to talk about how to perform row transformations, right? So the first section of this module, we're going to learn how to apply row transformation to get the length of the text in this column here. Alright, so today we're gonna learn how to use the apply Lambda, which is a sub function to iterate against all of the records that we have in our data frame columns. Alright, so I'm gonna change this to markdown, and I enter a new line, and let's copy this code here, paste it over, and we're gonna remove this length here. Alright, so here we're gonna add in a function apply, and let's open a parenthesis, let's add in Lambda and we're gonna add in a variable to represent our lambda. Alright, we're gonna say lambda x. What we want to do with this function here, so let's add in a colon, and we're gonna say for each of the records inside the column for total revenue here, we're gonna count the string of the records for each of the columns here, right? So we're gonna say apply lambda x. So the sub function here is going to count the string within each of the records here. Alright, so let's run this code here, and let's scroll to the very right of our data frame, and right now we can see our column length has been updated with the length within the total revenue column, right? So here 9925 represents there is 9925 of H here within the column total revenue itself. Alright, so this is the first part that we are going to cover for this module. The second part we're going to cover in this module is to split the year from our order date column. Alright, so we are going to use the apply lambda sub function as well. Let's copy this code here, paste it over, and for this we're gonna create a new column called as the year. Alright, so we're gonna grab the year from our order date column. Alright, so we're gonna change this to order date. Alright, so we're gonna say apply lambda, and the function for lambda here is to split the string. Okay, so we're gonna split the string with the separator of a slash here. Okay, so we're gonna add in slash here, and we're gonna split it at the second occurrence, right? So this is the first occurrence here, second occurrence, and we're gonna get this to be captured as our year column, right? So we're gonna add in a square bracket, and we add in 2 here. Alright, now let's run this code here, and here we are receiving error, right? This is because we did not close our parentheses for this apply function here, right? So we're gonna close this parenthesis here, and let's run our code again. So let's scroll to the very right of our data frame, and right now we can see the year column has been populated accordingly, right? So this is how we split our column into a new column by using the apply lambda sub function. Alright, and the last part that we have in our module here is to use the apply lambda method as a flag to flag which records here are of the higher cost, and subsequently we're gonna flag all the records that is of the lower cost. Alright, so I'm gonna copy this code here, and let me paste it over to the new line here, and I'm gonna say our new column here will be the high cost column. Alright, and we're gonna say for our unique cost column here, so let's replace this with unique cost, and we're gonna say apply lambda x. Let's remove this function here. We're gonna change it to tell Python to return true if our x, alright, x which is the iterator here, is greater than 100. Alright, so if the iterator here is greater than 100, it will be flagged as true in the high cost column. Alright, so coming back to here, this will be true if x is greater than 100, else it will be false. Alright, now let's run this code here, and let's go to the very right of our data frame. Now we can see our records has been flagged accordingly, right? So if our unique cost is greater than 100, it will be flagged as true in the high cost column. Subsequently, if it is lower than 100, it will be flagged as false, right? So yep, that basically covers some of the case scenarios when we are using apply lambda to capture a few information, transform our column into a new column. Alright, So yep, that's all about the lesson for today. Thanks for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next module. Thanks and bye bye. Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Now that we have know how to perform row transformation, today we're going to talk about how do we perform aggregation with the combination of group by syntax. Alright, let's start off with a new line here. So we're going to create a new data frame which is called as the group here. Okay, now we're going to say group equal to our df, and we're gonna use the function group by. So we're gonna type in G and let's hit on the tab keyboard button. So here we have a group by function here. Let's hit on enter, and we're gonna open a parenthesis here, and we're gonna group by the column of country. Alright, let's group by the column on country. Alright, now if you run this code here, nothing is gonna happen, and let's try to display the group table of records here. Right, now let's run this code here, and right now we can see this will only show us that this group here is a data frame group by object. Right, so we need to further narrow down which column that we want to show as the aggregated column to be grouped by the country column here. Alright, so we're gonna say we want to look at all the total units sold by country. Okay, so we're gonna say group square bracket single quote, and we're gonna add in units sold. Alright, let's check the spelling. Units sold, and we're gonna add in a function to aggregate. Okay, and let's open a bracket here, and inside the bracket we're gonna add in a curly braces, and we add in sum. Alright, so this aggregate function here will return the sum of the units sold by country. Okay, so let's run this code here, and right now we can see we have the total of units sold by country. Right, now by doing this here, we can also know that we have our products has been sold to 76 different countries. Right, now what if we want to group by multiple columns? Right, for example, we want to look at the total units sold split by the sales channel and also by country. Okay, so we're gonna just add in a comma here, add in a single quote, and let's put in sales channel. Okay, now let's run this code here. Now we can see Python is throwing an error here. This is because if we want to have multiple columns within a group by function, we need to add in the square bracket here. Alright, now let's run our code here, and right now we can see we have our total units sold grouped by our sales channel and also our country. Alright, so yep, that's all for the lesson for today. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks and bye bye.